Kathleen Kennedy in June 2012 was handed the reins to what at the time was the largest franchise in movie history, Star Wars. And in under 6 years, she has brought the beloved franchise to an embarrassing low with just 4 films. It can't be denied that the first 3 Disney Star Wars films earned over $1 billion each at the box office. It appeared to be the perfect success story for the female diversity hire. However, if Kathleen Kennedy takes the credit for all of Disney's Star Wars successes, she must also shoulder the blame for all of Disney's Star Wars failures. Star Wars has always had strong ticket sales domestically in the United States, and the excitement was apparent after the first Star Wars film released by Disney had a $248 million opening weekend, 25% over its estimated debut of $197.5 million. However, the excitement dwindled for each successive film. Rogue One earned 19% over its estimated debut. The Last Jedi earned 10% over its estimated debut. However, this third movie divided the fan base, with the internet churning between fans who loved or hated the film. This is important to note. And Solo earned 26.5% under its estimated debut. So the Star Wars franchise has been steadily declining under Kathleen Kennedy's guiding hand. There has been a negative 51.5% swing on expected debut ticket sales in just 4 movie releases, the biggest decline happening after The Last Jedi. But why wasn't she immediately fired after it was apparent that the third film had broken the fan base? Because Disney strong-armed domestic theaters into giving them a 65% cut of the ticket sales versus the usual 55% take, a 10% increase. As The Last Jedi earned $614 million domestically, Disney basically milked the middleman for an additional $61 million. Since the estimated profit by Disney for The Last Jedi was $266 million after accounting for its budget and marketing, nearly a quarter of the film's profit was generated by this tactical loan. Kathleen Kennedy was able to generate extra money out of the power of the Star Wars brand. The shareholders were appeased, and thus Kathleen Kennedy kept her job. However, this was a case where $61 million is not always equal to $61 million. $61 million milked from the middleman is not equal to the millions made off paying customers. To make $61 million from the fan base would have required the film to make $111 million more at the box office. If we assume tickets are approximately $10 each, that would mean that there were another 11 million tickets sold, which would have signified a healthier fan base. Unfortunately, this is not the case. And then there's the case of China. With China soon to be the world's top film market, one of Kathleen Kennedy's top priorities as president of Lucasfilm should have been to ensure the success of the Star Wars brand overseas. This is not the case, as the opening weekend data shows. The Force Awakens opened to 53 million. Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, 30.6 million. The Last Jedi, 28.7 million. And this movie was hated to such a degree that it was taken off every screen in the country in under 10 days. And last, Solo, A Star Wars Story, 10.1 million its opening weekend. The fourth Disney Star Wars movie made only 1/5 of ticket sales during its opening weekend as compared to the first Disney Star Wars movie. Kathleen Kennedy was so unsure of the Star Wars brand in China that they didn't even call it A Star Wars Story, and the film was instead titled Ranger Solo. China has refused to board the Star Wars hype train. And let us talk about the Lucasfilm employees. They have consistently attacked the fans and customers. J.J. Abrams stated that Star Wars fans who didn't like The Last Jedi are threatened by women. Rian Johnson says he ignores the fans and has called fans who didn't like the Star Wars film he directed man babies. The co-writer of Solo, A Star Wars Story, Jonathan Kasdan, told Huffington Post interviewers that popular Star Wars character Lando Calrissian is pansexual, meaning Lando finds anything sexually attractive, which can include but is not limited to men, women, robots, aliens, or even children. And since neither Kathleen Kennedy or Lucasfilm has refuted any of these comments, it must be assumed that she condones or shares the views of her employees. Especially telling is that Jonathan Kasdan doubled down with another tweet saying he wasn't sorry for his pansexual comment, revealing that Kathleen Kennedy did not advise him to keep quiet or apologize. However, this set of tweets from Jonathan Kasdan directly resulted in a $20 million dip in the expected ticket sales for Solo's opening weekend, as parents were alarmed to learn that sexual identity politics were going to be portrayed in a child's film. resulting in 18% less families showing up for the movie's release. Unable to keep her employees from costing Disney millions of dollars, and seemingly unable to keep her directors from sticking to a cohesive story after Daisy Ridley revealed that Rian Johnson abandoned J.J. Abrams' blueprint for Episode 8, the direct sequel to J.J. Abrams' Episode 7, Lucasfilm appears to be a rudderless ship under Kathleen Kennedy in comparison to Marvel Studios headed by Kevin Feige. Kathleen Kennedy also keeps hiring and firing directors. Colin Trevorrow, who was supposed to direct Episode 9, Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, who are directing Solo, and director Josh Trank from a project centered around Boba Fett. She seems unable to vet potential hires and ends up firing them after wasting millions of dollars and resulting in millions more spent on reshoots. Nearly half of Rogue One and up to 70% of Solo was reshot. Her inability to trust her own hires has resulted in lower profitability. And talking about lower profitability, Star Wars toy sales are down. The movies produced by Kathleen Kennedy's Lucasfilm haven't been able to sell new Star Wars toys, and it has always been known that toy sales is where most of the profit is generated by the Star Wars franchise. Right after Solo's opening weekend, Disney stocks dipped 2.4% after the film's dismal showing. Shareholders are showing a lack of confidence in Kathleen Kennedy's decisions. So again, Star Wars, which was the biggest movie franchise at the time of landing in Kathleen Kennedy's hands, has resulted in rapidly declining returns for Disney's $4 billion investment. Her insistence on including gender and racial politics in Star Wars has ruined the Star Wars appeal in China, where they turned their nose up at such issues. The Last Jedi was pulled off every screen in China only 10 days after its release. The top film market of the future, according to Hollywood analysts, is no longer interested in spending money on Disney's $4 billion investment. Kathleen Kennedy's unwillingness to reprimand her employees or publicly apologize to the offended fan base has displayed her startling carelessness to the Star Wars brand and its future growth, to the detriment of Disney's $4 billion investment. Her inability to vet potential directors has wasted hundreds of millions of dollars at this point and lowered the profitability of Disney's $4 billion investment. Star Wars toy sales are down, hurting the profitability of Disney's $4 billion investment. Her movies are directly damaging the value of Disney's stock, not what the shareholders were expecting from Disney's $4 billion investment. Ultimately, Kathleen Kennedy's mission to grow or maintain the Star Wars franchise has failed. Each successive film has done worse during their opening weekends, to the point where there was a negative 51.5% swing in a mere 4 films, from The Force Awakens to Solo, A Star Wars Story. There are a couple of reasons put forth by the media. The media has suggested Star Wars fatigue, fans camping during the holiday weekend, fans having spent all their movie money on Avengers: Infinity War and Deadpool 2 the previous weekends. If this is the case, isn't it Kathleen Kennedy's fault for being unable to generate hype for what was the largest movie franchise in history when she received it in 2012? Then there are a couple reasons put forth by the fans. 1. Fans are adopting a wait-and-see approach. If this is the case, the question must be asked, why has this happened? What has Kathleen Kennedy done to the fan base? Why are they no longer excited for a new Star Wars release? Would firing Kathleen Kennedy rejuvenate the audience? 2. Fans are boycotting Star Wars as a response to The Last Jedi. More to the point, a Kathleen Kennedy boycott. If this is the case, why has this happened? What has Kathleen Kennedy done to cause the fan base to no longer be excited for a new Star Wars release? Would firing Kathleen Kennedy rejuvenate the audience? 3. Fans no longer care about Star Wars. If this is the case, what has Kathleen Kennedy done to cause fans to turn away from the beloved franchise? Would firing Kathleen Kennedy rejuvenate the audience? The first 3 Disney Star Wars films earned over $1 billion each, but that doesn't mean Disney netted over $1 billion each in profit. The Force Awakens earned an estimated net profit of $780 million. Rogue One earned an estimated net profit of $319 million. The Last Jedi earned an estimated net profit of $266 million. However, the latest Disney Star Wars offering is on track to lose over $250 million after its run is over. And if the fan speculation mentioned before is to be believed, as long as Kathleen Kennedy keeps her job, Star Wars will continue to lose money on future films. However, if Disney wants to make more money, firing Kathleen Kennedy seems to be a no-brainer. So everyone watching should ask themselves, with everything mentioned during this video, how has Kathleen Kennedy been able to keep her job? Is it because of her friends in Hollywood? Or just maybe it's because she's a woman and Disney is afraid to deal with the media fallout sure to follow after firing her? whatever the case, even though Disney can afford to waste $4 billion, it's just not good business.